Servus ihr Lieben und hallo Freunde des gepflegten Brettspiels. Ich bin hier noch auf der Spiel 2023 und ich habe wieder einen ganz besonderen Gast für euch eingeladen und zwar Simone Luciani. Simone, would you mind introducing yourself to our viewers?
Hello everybody, I'm Simone Luciani and I'm the designer of Barrage, Marco Polo, Tzolkin and some of the games. I'm also the lead developer of Cranio and I live as full-time designer and developer.
Yeah, otherwise you could probably not come up with that many games a year, because this year you've been very busy, or the last 2 years, because there are lots of games coming out from you. We got 2 here. How many games do you have at the fair this year?
I think 5 or 6, because I'm not sure that Lookout present at the fair the roll and write version of Grand Austria Hotel.
Yeah.
Because they sent a copy to my house last week, but I think they don't have a copy at the fair. So probably 5 at the fair and another one very soon.
Coming out pretty soon.
Yeah.
Okay, shall we just go over the games? Do you have a small pitch for every game you have at the fair?
Yes, super fast.
Yes.
Super fast pitch. Anunnaki is a 4X game that we release with Kickstarter. I try a new challenge to create a new hybrid Euro-American with exploration, with direct conflict between the player on the Euro side, so in the line of sight, so you control the game, but with interaction and exploration, something different. We try to do it with miniatures, so an expensive game with a really great table presence, and also a theme that I like because it's about ancient gods, space travel, more or less in the same level of Stargate. That is a film I like so much. Yeah. We'll see if the player like it. I like it so much, but we'll see.
You told about the table presence, so that was a focus you had when you designed the game as well, because it has a very large footprint as well on the table. You got big planets, everyone has its own board, you got miniatures. So was that an intent when designing the game, that you have a good table presence as well?
Usually no, I'm focused mainly on the mechanics. Here we need a big board because the exploration element, the number of people present on the X, force us to create a big board. Then the table present is a secondary step of the editorial working. So I create something, I have something in mind. Also as the visual aspect, as the theme. So I present to the publisher something, not only an Excel file with only mechanics, but the second step is a work that we do in collaboration with the publisher, because it's a publisher decision to create a meeple instead of plastics, because involve cost, involve a lot of things that is not related to designer decision.
Yeah. So when you come up with a new idea, do you start with the mechanics or with a theme?
Mainly with the mechanics, but it's not the only way I work. I follow everything. Sometimes mix two things. The only things I can say is that if I start with the mechanics, the themes comes to me very early. Because introduce the theme at the end is really difficult to have something really merged and reintegrated. So, for example, Grand Austria Hotel, Virginio came with the mechanics of the dice, and I come with the mechanics of the hotel. It's set in the medieval, so then the publisher changed it, but it's still about creating food, satisfy customer, and so on. So merging the mechanics and the first idea of the mechanics, and then create everything.
You mainly do designs with other designers together, so usually you have a team. Is that also a challenge you like, that you work with other people together?
A lot of not a lot, but some gamers ask me why I don't do something alone. But for me, it's so much fun to work with someone else. And also, I'm able to produce more games. And I prefer this way because it's stimulating, the discussion is stimulating. Sometimes also if the other designer doesn't have the solution, discussing creates something that the solution came up in a magical way. So I have a lot of fun to design together, also when there is a conflict. So usually if I can choose, I prefer to work with someone else.
Okay. So let's come to the next game, Rats of Wistar.
Rats of Wistar is a game I designed with the same designer of Anunnaki. We are close friends, we designed together very well, so we tried to do a second game after Anunnaki. The start is very strange because we start from the mechanic of Vendake, that is Danilo's first game.
With the grid.
With the grid. Then we developed the game with a lot of cards, and I had this strange theme because I'm in love with Brisby and the Secret of Nim. It's a film that I love, and I want to create something with a strange theme. So the first game is themed about the beaver that created the dam. So we had an idea, it's a bridge for family, but in the end we like the idea of rats, intelligent rats that escape from a lab and interact with humans and make adventures and create incredible invention. So we introduced the team and developed the game, and the game became more complex than the original. And we like it, but we find the first original mechanism too much frustrating for our gamer. And in the late part of the development, we removed the central mechanics and introduced the wheel. And the game changed again, sometimes happen, and then we are satisfied with the final results, and we are happy. It's a worker placement with a nice twist on a wheel that changed the connection between one main action and several secondary actions. And each main action is associated with the secondary action in a different way in each round.
Okay. So that was quite a big change close to the end of the development. Does that happen often?
It's not an often, doesn't happen really often, but sometimes happen. And when you have a creative process like the board game design, never is straightforward and works in the same way, exactly the same way every time. For Barrage, we split 6 months before publishing. We cut off the expansion that for 1 year is included in the game. So something change also in the last part of the game, because each test give you different feedback, each gaming group give different feedback. And it's difficult to take the right decision.
So all the feedback you get, you have to pinpoint where the problem is and then how to solve it. I guess that's not easy. Especially, do you know, how long do you know your game group? Are you always testing with the same game group, or do you always have new people?
It's a big risk to test with the same gaming group. Because also if they are good gamer, they tend to play in a specific way. So you don't see the game from all the point of view. And if you change gaming group, the new gaming group can show you something completely different. So it's really difficult to find 30 different gaming group. But change the tester is something really important. Also use the same is important, because when you're balancing, it's better to have experienced player with the same game. But it's really important to change the tester during the development.
So on certain steps on the development, you need different test groups. So in the beginning, for example, when you have new ideas, you want to hit more people. And when you come to the fine-tuning, it's good that you have one group that you can rely on and that gets into the game pretty deep.
More or less it's true.
Yeah.
But sometimes happen that you are more or less confident that the game is closed. You test with another group, and the feedback is, oh no, it's horrible, and you need to put everything in discussion to change your mind and fight a new challenge that you are surprised to see. So it's really time it's different, and it's frustrating when happen, but it's also the beautiful part because the challenge is every time different.
Okay. The other games you brought to the fair we don't have here, but you also have Nucleum from Board and Dice.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about Nucleum?
Nucleum is a game I designed with David Turci that create mix some element of brass, so the network building with some element of barrage, so you have the energy, you have an energy track with some goals on it, with new idea, so the domino style, in a really good way. It's a complex game for gamers, so with a lot of things to take in control, but less punitive than barrage. So if you like interaction, probably you prefer barrage. If you like something with interaction, but that allow you to more or less play, also if the other player can destroy your strategy, but it doesn't block you at all. So it's less punitive, it's more friendly, but with little bit more rule, more element to taking care.
I really like the theme integration in Barrage and how it feels, so it's very natural. But as you say, for me Barrage is a little bit too confrontative. So Nucleum I think is more like the game I would prefer playing more often. But I still keep Barrage in my collection because it's just brilliant design. The fourth game I don't have on my radar. What's the fourth game you have on the fair?
The fourth game is Dragon Sea.
Okay.
It's a game when I'm not the main designer.
Okay.
I had the effort to design, to develop the game and to upgrade, and it's a Family Plus game, really different from a usual. And the last game is Darwin, that after the Kickstarter are coming to retail this year. So it's very well appreciated from the player. It's a classical Euro with a scientific theme, and it's a game I enjoy to play with growing the work and customize your work. So it's some in my direction.
It feels pretty much like a game of yours.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've already played it.
More than Nucleum, more than Rats of Wistar, more than Anunnaki, I think.
The first game I played from your games is Tzolkin. It's also really, I think that was one of the games when I started board gaming that showed me that board games are more interesting than the things we played as a kid. So that's your first big success, right? Tzolkin.
Yeah, that's correct.
So from there, you started developing. Do you think you changed a lot since the time when you designed Tzolkin? Or your designs changed a lot?
I think I learned a lot from then. Tzolkin is... before Tzolkin, I'm working mainly on family game. Mainly on ticket ride style game. My first published game is a children game with only a deck of cards. Then Tzolkin and Grand Austria Hotel give me the success with the heavy game, and then also change my taste because during this year I moved from a family oriented game to more heavy game, and so I changed the style of design. Then when people like something you create, you try to do something in this direction because feel that everything is good. But I learned something. I I learn some. I doesn't change so much the way to work, but I upgrade. In Tzolkin, I work more as intuitive, so I try this one, but I fail, try another one. In the last years, I find a way with more accurate, I make less mistake. So it speed up the process, but also you made mistakes, also sometimes doesn't work, so you are never everything that is good. When you create something in your mind, the game is perfect. Then when you test, something doesn't work, but I made less mistake than 10 years ago.
So you get more used to board game designing. How did you get into board game designing anyways?
I started designing when I was a child. I design game for my neighborhood. So I create game, I change the rule of the game, and I also create game from zero that all my friends play at school. Then I stop because I become a Magic player, and then all my creativity is to create deck of Magic, and then restart around 25. Creating everything. I started with Dungeon Crawler, and then I found the publishing in 2009.
Okay, so thanks for your time. In the end, I always have a little association game, as I told you. So first word would be Spiel des Jahres.
First?
Game of the year, Spiel des Jahres.
Yeah.
So what do you think about, what comes to mind when you hear Spiel des Jahres?
The prize.
Yeah.
The prize, it's one of my dreams to win the Spiel des Jahres.
Yeah.
And it's my first dream. My first dream is to publish a game, then to reach some success. But entering the final of the Spiel des Jahres is one of my dream.
Life goals.
But not easy because I don't have a big success with a family game, but never say never. So it's really good to still have a dream to realize and to make real.
Kickstarter?
I'm not a big fan of Kickstarter as customer, so I never buy a Kickstarter in my life, but mainly because I live in the present. So for example, when I saw Brass, I'm loving it. I'm in love with Brass. The new edition is beautiful. So I want to do the Kickstarter. But they say I'll send you 1 year in the future. And for me, I cannot buy something that you can say. But I like to see the people that have trust in the game, that wait for them. I can have the feeling. For me, it's not for me. As designer, it's an opportunity. Because an opportunity to create game beautiful, with more component, with more stuff that is difficult to work as money in the normal retail. So for example, I received the Kickstarter edition of Darwin, is beautiful. I saw the Kickstarter edition in Anunnaki, there are a lot of stuff, a big box, so it's a big opportunity and I like to work on it. But more or less I prefer the old retail version, go straight forward.
Shelf space?
Very few. I bought a lot of game in the past, but I stopped and now I'm stabilized around 350 games more or less. So during the year I bought only 20, 30 new games and sold. The game I feel don't play in a year. So I'm stable.
So you sell games, or how do you keep up your rotation?
Give to my friends or sell. Also for a few price, but I'm happy if another player can get the game and play and have fun with something that I stay in my shelf and don't come to the table at all for 1 year. So I take the game, I have the feeling at least one per year came to the table.
And lastly, relaunch or remake, like for Barrage, and not for Barrage, for Brass, sorry. The old brass and then the new one. So a new version of it if it games runs out of print and then gets re-released. What do you think about that?
It's not easy to work on a new edition. We did it for 2 games in the middle level with Cranio. But it's not easy because you fight with people that like the old edition and you want to create something new. In brass, they work, I think that the developer work in a really perfect way. So the new edition, I love the new edition, but I have all the feeling of the last game. So it's a nice challenge. We are going in a challenge with Cranio for the next year, with a game I love so much. Okay. We try to do a reboot with not exactly the new edition, but something like Gaia Project with Terra Mystica. So a new game based on the core mechanics with something really new. So we'll see for the next year.
Okay, so something we can look forward to. What's coming out from Cranio next year?
Yeah. A big game, not from me, but I'm involved in development, about a top 100 game in the last 5 years.
Okay, cool. Then, see you next year. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.